Hey there, my name is Taylor, and I'm with the HACK&CO Real Estate Team at RE/MAX River City, and we are going to give some insight because we just wrapped up April. We're now into May, and the REALTORS Association of Edmonton has released the market statistics package, which is incredibly boring. I'm going to try to save you from having to read that by running through not only what was going on in the stats package, but also what our teammates have been encountering in the market. Speaking of our teammates, let's get them in here. Good to see everybody this morning. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Doing great.
Doing well.
Let me do some introductions here. I'm going to do it starting with Cordell Schur. Cordell, how's your week been going? You had an incredible month last month. Feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Things are moving, starting to feel the heat of the spring market, and it's a good feeling.
Absolutely. And do you have anything that you would see specifically as a highlight from last month?
Well, probably I had a client who was out shopping on the south side, and we were able to get them a good deal on a home that had more than average days on market, and it was the only property in the neighborhood with a finished basement at the same price as others. So we felt that was a big win.
That's awesome. You know what? I think a lot of people look past those properties that have accumulated days on market, possibly thinking that they are inconsistent with the market, so they're not a good purchase, but negotiation can really change that, right? You can change the price. Yeah, so that was a good find. That's awesome. Mr. Bentley, how you doing this morning?
Fantastic, Taylor. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. This is Craig Bentley, also having an incredible spring so far. How have you been finding this market? You know, I know last year it was a little bit face melting. Do you see a big comparison?
Well, we all know last year was off the chains, coming off the pandemic. Things were super, super hot. So coming into this year, we were curious to see where we'd land. And we are seeing a lot of action. We're having listings fly off the shelf. So spring is here and we're loving it.
That's awesome. Anthony D'Souza, good to see you this morning. Rough go with your hockey team last night?
Yeah, it's a long series, but I started the day putting up a sold sign, so that made it much better.
That's got to be awesome. Sold sign. I think that you were driving out of town for this one. Go for a bit of a drive this morning?
Yeah, it was about 20 minutes east of Sherwood Park, but it was worth the drive, and I'm super happy for my sellers.
That's fantastic. And as a listing agent, how have you been finding this market as we transition from April into May here?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of showing, the showing cadence has picked up significantly on most property types. Seems to be a lot more activity with buyers, and people seem to be feeling pretty good about where they're at with their financing. And so we're seeing that with our listings now.
Oh, that's fantastic. Also, welcome Amy Brown. How are you doing this morning, Amy?
Oh, doing good. I've been up since 5:30. It's gardening season and I need my time.
Oh, that's awesome. You've been growing some plants and also growing your listing inventory, putting up a few different listings throughout the greater Edmonton area. I think you're in 3 different municipalities right now.
I am. Believe it or not, I am.
Well, that's fantastic. And what's your experience been so far as we run through the spring?
It has been incredible. I just put a listing up yesterday and immediately got a text message. Is this still available with no pending offers? Immediately. And that's been kind of my experience out there with buyers as well. It's been crazy. You need to jump on the properties that you love.
And we really try to take advantage of that with our process. I always try to think about with listings, how many people would attend the movies if there weren't any previews, right? And having that coming soon marketing has led to more opening day showings. I just put up a listing yesterday in Foxborough, and I think the last time I checked was like around 6 p.m. yesterday. So it had only been on the MLS for hours, and it already had 5 showings and building from there. So coming soon marketing is really key. Having our network of people that have been on our website recently is definitely paying off. But let's kind of dig into what the experience is going on right now. So one of the questions that we get so commonly is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? So we'll talk about the stats in a second, but how does it feel? And let's lock in a little bit here.
I can talk about this one. It feels still like a seller's market. Not still, like it didn't for a while. And right now it seems like a seller's market. It is more balanced, but that is not my experience out there.
That's great. Who else wants to weigh in on this? Cordell, when you're representing a buyer, are you thinking that it's like a buyer's market or a seller's market? How does it feel right now?
Honestly, with most buyers that I'm representing, it does feel like a buyer's market. I've been dealing with a lot of clients who the property they're interested in, it feels like the sellers are a little bit more nervous. And so they're willing to play a little bit more ball.
What about you, Craig?
So when I'm out with buyers, we do realize there is quite a bit of inventory with all of our search notifications going off daily with new properties hitting the market, but we are experiencing a ton of multiple offers. So we've said it a million times over, the good listings go quick and they are definitely flying off the shelf here in April and May.
I would agree. And Tony, when you're working with buyers, what do you see?
I'm seeing a little bit of everything, but more so right now, I'm seeing multiple offers. I was in a couple yesterday and a couple of days before, and a lot over the weekend. And so I expect that trend to continue, which does feel like a seller's market, but it really depends on what segment of the market you're shopping in. And so I can definitely relate to what Cordell's saying too.
Yeah, that's really interesting as we see like these different little pockets. You know, if somebody's shopping in the condo market, I don't think that they're going to be as concerned about multiple offers as somebody who's looking for like single family detached. And if you're looking on the northeast side, you're probably not going to have the same experience as if you're shopping in a place like Sherwood Park. So really, as much as we are going to review statistics, statistics are going to be this big collection of the data, but not necessarily reflective of your situations. And that's why we call this segment market insight. Information is available to everybody. We live in the age of information right now, but insight's really what makes the difference. Let me bring this up on screen here. So this is what the Realtors Association of Edmonton released for an infographic for market statistics. And we were talking a little bit about what does it feel like a buyer's or a seller's market? We measure that as months of inventory. And right now I can tell you it's 3.41 months of inventory. But when you take a look at the theme song of what's going on in the market here, what we're seeing is a lot of these down arrows when we see like year over year. Like, look at this one. This one's going to be really important to many people when they talk about year over year sales. If I scroll in there. So this is the thing that's hitting the news the most. And what do you guys feel when you see like, oh, you know, year over year, real estate is down 30%, because that's how they word it. Real estate is down. Amy, you're laughing. Tell me more.
I mean, I think that we had an anomaly last year and demand calls supply to the market. So there were people that were putting their house on the market because it was a seller's market. And if they were going to sell it, this was when it was going to sell. And so I'm not surprised to see the numbers the way that they are. And I definitely wouldn't feel tricked by those numbers, because in the segments I'm helping people shop in, it's still crazy.
I would agree with that. And last year, when we measure out buyers or sellers market, we call it months of inventory. And right now, if you look holistically through the greater Edmonton area, we could say that the statistics are saying it's balanced, right? Yeah. But last year, we were at 2.2 months of inventory in April.
Super seller.
Yeah. So like, it's not like once we get under 1 month of inventory, meaning that after that, the supply is gone unless new listings come to the market. I think that that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily see. Like if you were to highlight your experience between this year and last year at the same time, what do you remember about last year? Maybe Craig on this one.
So last year, I do remember a lot of people just getting that first inclining of interest rates starting to rise. So people were just diving into the market, trying to make sure that they got ahead of the curve. Where here, now it's kind of like the aftertide. Everything's settling a little bit. People are realizing that, hey, interest rates, they're holding steady and prices haven't drastically dropped like everyone was expecting. So we're still seeing a lot of activity in the market now, where people are more comfortable now that all those rises happened last year, and it's slowly calming. That's the word I'd like to use.
I think that's a really good description. Cordell, we've been reviewing a whole bunch of news articles, and what do you see happening in the rest of the country right now?
Honestly, I'm seeing in main places like Vancouver and Toronto, things are going crazy. Prices are dropping drastically, and that's because the supply and demand isn't where it used to be. So people are a lot more nervous in those places to get involved.
And do you feel as though Edmonton's going through the same thing?
Not at all.
There's so many people moving here, hey? Like that's definitely offsetting this. And also that effective interest rates, it's not limiting us as much as it's limiting those markets where the average property is over $1 million. When we kind of take a look at where the action is, Tony, when you look at this year versus last year, where is the action when it comes to price point? Like right now we're seeing, I'll put this up on screen here, but average price is for total residential is about 400,000. Do you think that that's similar than last year?
I think there's a lot of buyers in that price point now, but right, what I'm feeling is much further up the market. It might be like someone's second or third home, growing families in that 550 to 6 range. Seems to be like that all over the place that I'm shopping with buyers right now. So it's like higher up the market is feeling pretty good, but also around that 400 mark, we're seeing duplexes that are outperforming what they would have done just a couple of years ago. Maybe not as strong as last year, but still there's a lot of demand for those types of properties right now.
Yeah, and last year I felt like the demand closer to the further down the market when we get into like apartment style condominiums was like lacking all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was only the people that could afford to take action. That group was the most active in real estate in 2022. So the average price was way higher, but so many people are confused. They think that average price is what the average property is worth rather than where the appetite is right now. So with where you've been hanging out in our market, you're saying, Tony, that you're seeing a lot more people that are still that group that kind of is more established taking action?
I would say so.
And how about everybody else, kind of popcorn style here, with where you've been spending time in the market? Are you in the same place that Tony is, where you're looking at those properties that are like 600,000 to 800,000 or above there?
I would say for me that anything over 700 up to $1 million is kind of where I've been shopping a lot, and there hasn't been a ton of good, well-priced stuff. So it's going quick when it comes.
It still is that season where we're calling for inventory, right? We're waiting for stuff coming in. How about yourself, Greg?
Between 400,000 and 600,000, really popular right now for me and my clients. A lot of these first-time home buyers that are now established family members looking to upsize, we're definitely moving up the market there.
Oh, that's awesome. And Cordell?
I gotta say for myself, I've been everywhere in the market these last few months. I've helped apartment style condos around 200,000, and I've also helped clients with like homes in St. Albert and acreages up to like 800,000. So I've been seeing a lot of action everywhere.
So for somebody who's seeing a lot of action, where do you feel as though it's the most competitive? Like where are your buyers the most nervous?
Definitely at the 400 to 500 range. I've had a few clients where there's been some turmoil in those price ranges.
Tony, you were mentioning that you have somebody out that's looking at builds now because it was so competitive at their price point.
Yeah, we are going up against 7 to 10 offers every single time on a like front attached garage duplex. Terwilliger or even Tamarack, the Hamptons for sure has been really busy, and there's lots of stuff out there that looks very similar, but it's in such a low condition or it's overpriced based on location that people are overlooking it. But the good stuff with nice big backyards and premium locations is getting scooped up quick.
That's really interesting. So what you're saying is that anybody who's considering themselves a seller and has something that is a duplex in the West End, they're probably going to be pretty well welcomed by the market right now.
Absolutely.
What else are you guys looking for? Amy, what do you want to see come to the market?
I've got a lot of people right now that are looking in that higher end area of homes. So like 700 to $1 million is kind of where we're seeing things, but I have some pieces of advice for people selling these. It is not last year. You need your RPR. People aren't in such a crazy position that they're just like title insurance, whatever. Just get your permits, get it sorted out, come to the market ready.
It can be so frustrating when someone is just like, oh yeah, buyers will accept title insurance. Do you think that buyers should accept title insurance?
Depends on the situation. I'm not going to say no, because sometimes it's a great idea, but not in every situation. And these people that are investing 700 to $1 million or maybe more, they expect that RPR. They do not want to take on somebody else's problem, and they don't have to.
Especially if you don't have a real property report from any point in time, right? Like if you can't prove to a buyer that the house has ever been in the right spot and that the major structures, like I can understand if you're like, man, we just did a change to the deck and we put in this like retaining wall. So we have a real property report with compliance from a few years ago. And we're also going to include title insurance just for these smaller, less expensive structures. I think that can be like where we see title insurance. But if you've been on the market for more than 3 weeks, like really, what's your excuse?
And also, if anyone that is a trade ever tells you, don't worry about a permit, nobody cares. Yes, they do. Get your permit, get your permit, get your permit.
Well, I like that you're advocating for clients. What else are you guys finding frustrating right now?
Walking into homes and you got to burn your socks when you leave because it's disgusting. Like take some time to actually clean your house as if you had your mother-in-law coming over. You know, take that extra effort to make sure, people are coming in, because, my buyers, even though as much as they can look past stuff, they don't. They see the dirt and the dust bunnies piled up. They look at the baseboards that have never been cleaned, and it's not a matter of them being, grossed out by the cleanliness. They think now, like, how well do you take care of your mechanical systems? What are the gutters like? What are you putting down the sewers? Like, it just doesn't leave them with a good feeling. And I've had houses that definitely would have worked for clients. They would have avoided multiple offers, and they're just like, absolutely not. Let's get out of here. So I can give that feedback directly to the agents, and I often do, but take that extra effort. I know Amy's over there. That's like one of her big things, but it's pretty gross in a lot of houses right now.
I have a pair of real estate slippers that I now bring with me.
Bare socks in the trunk. That's what I
do. What about Cordell? Craig, anything driving you nuts right now?
For myself personally, unrepresented buyers. There's a few different teammates here that have experienced that recently. People think they want the best of both worlds. They feel like they can do this themselves, but they don't know what they're doing. They don't want advice, but they want advice. It's a new thing that seems to be becoming more and more popular, where they feel like it's an advantageous play, but it just shows right away that they don't understand what they're talking about.
I kind of find it funny. I don't mind underrepresented buyers because I am a representative already, right? Meaning my job is to get the seller the most money. And it's kind of like Miranda rights. Like anything you say can and will be held against you. If you are asking to show with me as the listing agent, I am there to take your money. Okay? I am in a written agreement with someone already that says I am going to get every red penny there is. And so people that come in to, like, I was at an open house last weekend and somebody came in and said, so what's the lowest price that the seller will accept? And I looked him right in the eye and I said, I will never tell you. Because if I was your realtor and I did that, how would you feel about me? Like, these people are my clients and you're some guy at an open house. You think I'm just going to turn over like that? So feel free to bring me an offer. Don't ask me for advice, though, because you are just a customer to me. You are not my client, and I am here to take your money.
That is the benefit of being signed up with a realtor, is that we are allowed then to give you advice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And like, I've only negotiated, I don't know, like $500 million worth of money in my career. And if this is your first time, come on in. Water's warm. Don't mind the fins. Make some of us nervous. So I definitely understand where you're coming from with unrepresented buyers. I think that, Craig, you are someone who does such a good job in being amicable and helping them understand they should be at least getting advice from a lawyer. I'm not the same. As I said, I am one-sided. I'm there to beat you. So come on by. I'll be at an open house on Sunday, Sherwood Park. You can come find me. Bring your offer sheets. I'll give you sheets to fill out, and then my sellers are going to be super excited.
Maybe it's a good time to tell people that we don't represent both sides of the agreement then.
Yeah, honestly, like I think that more people should have less contact with the listing agent because they just don't understand. Like if you don't understand the rules enough to know that we're already engaged against your interest, I'm surprised at how many people ask for the listing agent. And obviously they got to have a reason. Maybe there's some agents out there that are like not as in it to win it. But
the listing agent knows the house. That's why they want to see it, right? They're the expert, and that's what the consumers feel is that agent knows the house inside out, so they might get a better deal or more of the inside track. Or of course, that always, one agent means less money. That's a thing that we see a lot too.
Yeah, and they obviously have not looked at a listing agreement to understand how the money works. Mm-hmm. And they also obviously don't understand that we've already signed an agreement that has a confidentiality clause in it. Like, not only will we not talk about things that are of a confidential nature, like the lowest price our clients would accept, details about their situation, why they're moving, those types of things that would lead you to an advantage in a negotiation are specifically inside the agreement that we've already committed to. So to think that in a casual conversation, you're going to get us to violate our contracts, like, do you think we're new? Like I guess like you can keep trying, but I think that there's a lot of people that come out of those situations being like, yeah, we won. And they have no idea. They don't even know where the scoreboard is, let alone what the score is. Cordell, anything bothering you these days?
With the amount of time I spend on the phone with people, I think the main thing is everyone thinks that if it happened last year, it's bound to happen this year. So everyone thinks the sky is about to fall and they just got to wait it out another week, month, few months. Prices are so high, interest rates are so high, everything is going to come crashing down and I'm going to get something 50% off in 3 months. And it's frustrating because it's just not going to happen.
Well, I have to say, I've been doing real estate now for over 10 years. And when I see a trend line like what we saw last year, I can tell you that I haven't seen it before in 10 years. So your thought that since it happened last year, it's going to happen this year. Or since I read news about Toronto and Vancouver, that's also going to happen here at Edmonton. I think that that's also a good sign that you should be getting an agent. You should get somebody to represent your interest that actually does understand. Like, we review these statistics in detail. And I think that that's a great segue to maybe talk a little bit about what's going on with days on market. So what do you see when it comes down to detached properties? We're seeing this year versus last year. I'm going to start off with Amy. Can you take us through what you see with detached?
Yeah, it looks like it's taken quite a bit longer than this year than it did last year. Almost double.
And I think that's true because like sometimes we had to wait in line to show properties last year, right? Like that's something that's incredible. And so I definitely see what you see when it comes down to that. And when we're talking about detached, which properties are we talking about?
Single family, not attached to anyone else.
So houses, right? Mm-hmm. Tony, what do you see with semi-detached?
So right now, obviously, the same type of trend as the detached houses. It's just taken about twice as long to solve the market. And semi-detached would be you have one house attached, one other side attached to you. So we used to call them duplexes.
That's right. And so with those were one of the hottest segments of the market all through going through COVID. And now it seems like that part of the market is cooling a little bit by comparison to where it was previously. Cordell, row and townhouses. What type of properties are we talking about?
Rowan townhouses, they could also be called residential attached. And so that is more than two. So you can have a row of 3, a row of 5, but there's no condo fees.
There can be condo fees on those. That's
Oh.
actually the big change from last year to this year. Is we used to call it duplexes was one segment, and it didn't include townhouses because they had condo fees, and townhouses and apartment style condos were lumped together. And I know I've had trouble processing this as well. I find it frustrating, but I think we're being a little bit more consistent with the statistics from other areas. Now, going into those condos, what do you see there, Craig?
So we're looking very similar to last year in terms of days on market, which makes a lot of sense to me. A lot of people that shop in that segment need conditional periods. They need to review condo documents, get their financing in order. Where last year on detached, semi-detached, there was a lot of unconditional offers.
Mm-hmm.
So they would firm up instantly. So that would drastically affect the stats in terms of average days on market last year.
And we've been talking about this for a while, about the condo market essentially thawing. Are you still seeing condos like actually leaving the market instead of becoming expired or terminated?
Yeah. And I also have a lot of people calling in saying that they are investors in other provinces and that it doesn't make sense to invest there right now. So they're looking to invest here. And many of them are starting with condos simply because they're not here.
As a show of hands, who has talked to an investor from another province in the last 4 weeks? So Edmonton is obviously a place that is on the map when it comes to investment. What do you think about Edmonton's potential right now in that condo market?
I think it's incredible. I think that there's not a ton of vacancy out there. There's a lot of people moving here. Yeah, I think that if you've ever considered owning a rental property that was a condo, now's the time.
Edmonton has a high number of like higher end condos as well. But what people talk about from Vancouver and Toronto is like, you can get what for 200 grand right downtown? Right? They can't believe that you can get a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom with an underground parking stall right in the heart of the city for, 200 to 250, and it'd be pretty solid. Like I would live there, right? And if you spend just a little bit more, now you're like in a luxury place, half 50, even 50,000 to that 300 mark, and you're going to be comparable with a 700 plus in downtown Toronto or Vancouver.
Absolutely. When it comes down to that specific market, I saw it get so beat down over like a 5-year period. We saw these situations where sometimes there was one buyer for like 10 sellers. And normal was like 1 for 4, 1 for 6, which means that all of those sellers are fighting for the available buyer by lowering their prices, right? And now the lower prices have turned into potential. I've talked to 2 different clients that I said, hey, listen, I know you're calling me just to get some information. You should hold that. Hold those condos. If you don't need to list right now, I would feel terrible if somebody owned a condo for the last 5 years and was like, how do I get out of this thing? This thing's awful. What a worst real estate vehicle ever. And then they sold right before they went up. Like that downward pressure is potential. So those people that do need to sell, they're just tired of being landlords or they're ready to upgrade. The condo market is more welcoming than it was before. But if you're saying, I want this to be an investment, then honestly, I would say don't stop writing chapters in that book, because like by this time next year, we're probably going to see some of those people actually liking owning those investment properties. And welcome to all the other investors across the country. I tell you that I don't think there's an argument against this statement. The Edmonton condo market has the highest potential dollar for dollar of any property in any city across the country. They are so low. 900 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and you can get into this stuff in some parts of our city for like in the mid 200s. You can even get downtown in the 300s, right? Craig, you listed an amazing apartment style condo this week. What did you list?
Oh, it is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath luxury condo in the Encore Tower. So anybody who's paying attention to the Edmonton Oilers right now, they're downtown having a blast. They need to check this place out because it would be fantastic for anybody who wanted to enjoy the downtown lifestyle, but be nice and secure on your own patio. You don't have to worry about the traffic down there. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. So as we close here, I want to get some bold prediction on what's going to happen with with our sports team here. Edmonton Oilers are in round 2. They just lost to the Vegas Golden Knights the other night. We're going into game 2 here on Saturday, which is tomorrow. And what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that how do you think game 2 is going to go?
I think they're going to pull it together. I think they're going to show us what they're made of in game 2.
And go pretty deep on this one, but I'm going to say the Oilers lose in overtime, coming back, and Draisaitl doesn't score 4, but they get close. Just they'll fall 2-0 in the series early.
All right, Craig.
I'm going to take a spin on that there. We're going to win in overtime, bringing it back 1-1.
And I agree with Craig. Maybe not so much the overtime, but I definitely going to think we're going to outscore them in the first 2 periods.
Well, I just hope that Draisaitl is not worn out from carrying the team through game 1. I couldn't believe it. 4 goals and not a single one from anyone else. And I'm excited to see what happens in game 2. I am also thinking that the Oilers are going to win, like everyone here who's not a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. I think somebody might be a little sour from how his team did last night. Tony is my favorite sports fan, by the way. He loves to chirp. He loves to receive the chirps. So if you can find Anthony D'Souza or the real Tony D on social media and you want to talk about whether it's hockey or football, hit him up. He's definitely a good time. And you're right, you can go deep when it comes to your sports analysis. All right, any closing statements to the Greater Edmonton market?
Get your property listed if you're planning on making a change. Let's do it.
And get it clean.
With an RPR.
With an RPR. We're not messing around.
Make sure you've talked to a mortgage broker and you actually have a pre-approval in place and you're not just trying to guess what your budget is. That always helps.
And we're about 7 or 8 weeks until kids are out of school. Spring market is here. Get on it.
Yeah, it's actually a good time to both buy and sell together. It's not as scary as it was last year. Right? There's properties on the market making those transitions so you can not have to move twice. A lot of people don't know that we do that all the time. So give us a call. We're glad to help. And let us be your second option. If you've already talked to one realtor, you should talk to 3, and we would be happy to come and compete for your business. I think that you'd be really surprised at how it looks when a sports team lists your property. We're not just a single generalist. This is a group of specialists. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. And please, if anybody's looking, you can give us a call at the Fast Agent Hotline at 780-909-6770. My name is Taylor. This is the HACK&CO team at RE/MAX River City, and we hope you have an awesome day.
See ya.